Hello, 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 beautiful people. You guys caught me in my little bop. I still do enjoy the intro music. So you caught me enjoying it, and welcome to another experience where we are doing Career Gems for the Journey live with Leah Murphy. I am excited to be here, but it's going to be brief because at the time of this recording, it's December 17th. I know a lot of folks are 2024, December 17th, 2024. A lot of folks are winding down, right? Transitioning into another place, focusing on non-LinkedIn Live, non-YouTube Live things. So I'm not going to be before you long, but I did have something that I wanted to make sure that I shared. I'm going to get the housekeeping out of the way. You guys saw in the intro that the Gems for the Journey Summit is actually officially happening. It's happening March 15th, 2025 in Philadelphia. We are going to talk about career, community, and care for women in their second act of life. It is going to be a phenomenal experience. We already got speakers confirmed. We already have some of our sponsors confirmed, and you're going to start to see all of the announcements for speakers and sponsors right at the beginning of the new year. We didn't want it to get lost in your inbox while folks may be focused on other things. So we're going to save it. We're going to savor it ourselves for a little while and then share it with you at the very beginning of January, at the top of the year. So look out for that. Go ahead and click the bell so you can make sure that you know when our announcements and our updates are coming up or when we're going live. You can also take advantage of the newsletter, the Gems for the Journey newsletter. You will see all of the first best announcements come out in the newsletter to that community first. So we make sure that we keep you well informed. That newsletter comes out just once a month. Once a month, it is not spammy at all. It is a curated list or group of really important things, a newsletter that allows you to have a concentrated version of the things we're sharing in the podcast or sharing on LinkedIn Live, or where we're sharing on other platforms, but you get it first when you're a member of the newsletter. So take advantage of that. Head over to gemsforthejourney.org to tap in and join our newsletter community. You can also get your tickets to the summit at gemsforthejourney.org/events. So the QR code was on the screen. It'll be on the screen at the end of the promo, and we'll give ourselves an opportunity to really live into that. So I'm excited for that. I am terrified. I'm terrified and excited at the same time. But just like I tell all of you, the goal is not to ignore your fear. It's to feel the fear and then do it anyway. And that's what we're doing with the Gems for the Journey Summit. We think it's going to be a transformational experience for all the women that are in the room, and we would love for you to be one of them. So if you're here with me live, please do drop your city in the chat. If you've taken the time to be able to join me and invested a few minutes in being live with me right now, I really appreciate that, and I'd love to be able to shout you out. So go ahead and drop your city in the chat. I am going to just talk briefly about something that I've noticed over the course of the last few weeks. I've been having kind of end of the year type conversations with a lot of my clients, my partners, those that I get to work with and collaborate with on the regular basis. And it has just reminded me that some of us are having completely different life experiences at the same time. It reminded me that you can see someone and have a conversation with someone, and if you don't ask the right questions or if the circumstances are not just right, you can completely miss or not know at all what they're navigating or what they're going through, what they're challenged by at that moment. And you may have a completely reasonable assumption of what's happening for them, but be wrong. We can be wrong oftentimes about where people are or what they need. And I'll give you an example and a quick story. So I am dealing with an organization. I work with multiple leaders within the organization, and we're on a call. And I'm asking folks, how's the end of the year going? What does December look like for you? How is this netting out? What does your day-to-day look like? And Lisa just joined us. Lisa mentioned that she's joining us from Dallas. Welcome, Lisa. Always glad to have you. So leaders who are in the same organization, and they're navigating the same company. They have a similar client group externally, completely different client group or completely different stakeholders internally. So I had folks who were on that call, and they were explaining, the year is winding down. I'm getting less and less emails, fewer and fewer reach outs, fewer and fewer contacts. Even if I'm soliciting information, I'm not hearing a lot back. And it kind of started around December 18th, right? Somewhere in that window where things get quiet typically. For some of them, it was December 15th where they stopped hearing from people where it got quiet. Then on that exact same call with people who work in that same organization and people who have a similar level of expectation or delivery requirements, some of those people could not believe the level of increase in demand that had happened on their end. So people are looking for things before the year closes. There's numbers that need to be submitted before they can close out the month, or there are projects that are happening in parts of the world that are not in the United States of America, and the expectations for them are really, really high. So what blew me away is that two people who sit in the exact same organization are having completely different lived experiences on their day to day and in the work that they're doing in this season. And what really tripped me out about it is if you saw both of them kind of on the same screen on this remote meeting, there's no way that you would know that they're having completely different lived experiences. And what it encouraged me to think about is first, we have to ask the question because everyone is navigating their own individual experiences. And that happens often in career. We may make an assumption based on how our days look, how our times look, how our career, promotability, relationship with our manager, relationship with our direct reports. We make assumptions based on our experience. And that's natural, that's human. But in order to be more empathetic and more holistic as a leader, we have to ask the questions to get a better understanding of what other people are navigating and what they may be seeing on a day-to-day basis. So there's no one size fit all way to approach this. And the reason why I wanted to share it is just to bring it up to our awareness, especially this time of the year. This season, November, December into January, can be really exciting and exhilarating for folks, a lot for folks to look forward to. It could also be really hard, really difficult for some other people. It could be a time where they are not at their best, they are not feeling their best, or they're having some trouble because of their things that you don't know about, right? So this assumption that we know and we have a great understanding of what's happening in people's lives, I'm here to tell you we don't. We only have a great understanding of what's happening in our life. And sometimes we don't even know that well. So when you're thinking about, when you're engaging with, when you're working with people in this season and all the time, honestly, to work to give as much grace as you can afford to give. But the grace really should start with yourself. So if you're having a difficult time, if you're navigating this season, if your work list is still really overwhelming, but you're seeing other people who are already spending more time at holiday parties and more time, enjoying having fun than actually, putting in hours and hours at work, give yourself the grace because it's okay to be disappointed that you don't feel the same way that other people feel in this time of year. I put out a post a few years ago that says, we don't know what this time of year brings for people. So let's normalize not assuming that everyone is excited for this time of year. And it's important for us as leaders, as people who have influence in organizations, to think through that is what inclusion looks like, is to normalize this is not necessarily the time to make assumptions that everyone's having the same experience, everyone is navigating this time of year in the same way. And I know it can feel like, oh man, well, this is a happy time. And I just want to make sure that I share that I'm happy and I want to acknowledge that for other people, or I celebrate in this way and I want other people to, acknowledge and be aware of that. That's for you to share. If that other person wants to hear that, or if that other person is interested, or they prompt you and ask you the question, but don't make the assumption that everyone wants to share. And also don't make the assumption that everyone wants to hear about your intentions or plans for this time of year. And sometimes that's where people get frustrated because there's a disconnect. And it's like, that's a way to connect with people. It's something that feels comfortable. It's dinner table conversation or water cooler conversation. And I think I want to encourage us to put a little bit more effort into being thoughtful and inclusive, not just of their life outside of work, but their life inside of work. If I'm hitting a full throttle 100-mile-an-hour project on December 20th, and I'm still working hard to close the deadline, I want you to be acknowledging and respectful of that just as much as how you're acknowledging and respectful of people who've decided to take off or have the ability to take off. Because for some of us, working during this time of year requires us to, is required. It's a required for our jobs, right? I think about all of our hourly workers. I think about our transportation workers, all our essential workers, all of the folks who work in some form of support retail. There are people who don't have the privilege to be able to be off of work. And I think sometimes because a lot of us who are here on this platform spend most of our time working for large organizations, and maybe we have a better access to time off, that we take for granted that everyone has that. So I want to make sure that we think about giving broader perspective and understanding the needs and experiences of people who are not like us during this time of year, just to be thoughtful and go out of our way to be a little bit more inclusive. It can go a long way. It can go a long way in real relationship building when you check in with people and say, hey, are you working on anything that's really critical and important? Or has the year started to wind down for you? Are you still giving the same amount of commitment as you have been all year? Leading with that sincere curiosity rather than making the assumption will make a huge difference in your ability to build a real relationship with that individual based on evidence, based on information that they've given you, not based on what you know and what you assume. So in the story, I'm talking to two people who are sitting in the same organization. One does not find this time of year to be celebratory, and they're working 100 miles an hour on a project that's critical to deliver by calendar end of date. And then someone else who essentially no longer is getting any emails, right? Their inbox is basically going quiet, and they're able to catch up on some work or catch up on things that, have been deprioritized before they then go and take a break. Two different people in the same organizations, similar expectations, similar objectives, but ultimately having a completely different experience day to day. So if you can start to think about navigating conversations and interactions and relationships with people from a place of curiosity that's sincere about them as an individual and their needs and maybe what they're navigating, you can build a sincere interaction that people feel healthy participating in. Hey, Neil, thank you so much for joining us. It looks like you're also joining us live. And thank you so much. I appreciate seeing your face. So give people grace. And as we're navigating this time of year, we're navigating end of year and beginning of new year, start with that grace for yourself, because a lot of us are carrying a lot. A lot of us are navigating a lot professionally and personally. So give that grace to yourself first. And then if you can afford it, and I think about it as a budget, right? Give that grace to someone else also, especially this time of the year. So I am thoughtful and glad to be able to have partners and clients and collaborators that take this path consistently and are thoughtful and considerate in how they treat people this time of the year and don't make assumptions about how people may be feeling or what they're celebrating or what they're not celebrating this time of the year. So I absolutely want everyone to take the best care of themselves possible. If you are winding down and the end of the year looks quieter for you, I hope you take really great care of yourself and you enjoy that. If you are still working and you are navigating full throttle delivery and projects, I sincerely hope that there is a finish line that is in your future. So you'll have an opportunity to be able to wind down and make a transition into the new year that feels healthy and that feels strong for you. So we will be quiet. Career Jumps for the Journey is actually shutting down for the end of the year. And we will not be back live for a few weeks. So we'll see you in January. We'll see you the first Tuesday in January in 2025. We will have amazing announcements that first Tuesday in January. That's January 7th, 2025. We'll be back with you live. There's so many things that are coming. I'm doing everything I can in my power to hold back, to not share, because you guys know I absolutely love this community. So if I could share, I would, but I'm going to be on my best behavior, and I'm not. And I'm going to invite you to come back and join us on January 7th, 2025, so you can hear all of the new announcements we have for the Gems for the Journey Summit. You can still grab your ticket for the Gems for the Journey Women's Summit. It is focused on women. It's for women. It's January 25th. It's March 15th, 2025. And if it does not fit for you or you can't join us there, buy a ticket for a deserving woman in your life. Buy a ticket for someone who you want to see grow and thrive in the areas of career, community, and care, because there's going to be something for every single woman. We have keynote speakers that are on main stage. We're going to have breakout sessions. We're going to have fellowship. We're going to have an amazing experience, and those folks will leave feeling transformed. I am confident of it. So I will see you all in the new year. I look forward to seeing you there. Join us January 7th for all of the announcements and updates on the summit, and head over to gemsforthejourney.org to grab your ticket or to buy a ticket for someone's deserving. If you celebrate holiday and you're a gift-giving holiday celebrator, a ticket to the Gems for the Journey Summit on March 15, 2025 is an excellent holiday choice if that is the way that you choose to celebrate. So thank you guys for being here with me today. I appreciate everybody who joined me live. Neil and Lisa, always, you guys ride with me consistently. I love that for me. I love that for you also. And if you're listening on the replay, please do drop your city in the comments and we'll shout you out there. Until the next time we're together, thank you guys for riding with me. Make your journey work for you. And I will see you in 2025. Take care.